Greetings, this is the Shadow Man. So early this week, a great 4-part miniseries has aired called The Putin Interviews. It was made by legendary US movie director Oliver Stone. And of course, liberals went completely insane. Like for example Howard Stern, Stephen Colbert, CBS This Morning, several newspapers, like for example The Guardian. Why did they go insane? Well, it's because they could not live with the fact that Stone didn't came to President Putin waving a moral finger in the air and accusing him of all world problems, but instead made neutral interviews where he simply heard Mr. Putin's opinion and presented him as a human instead of a Dr. Evil, like Western media usually does. And so, with that, another liberal safe space was shattered, because they are afraid more and more people will start to see through their propaganda. Stephen Colbert immediately somehow started convincing Stone of that Putin murders journalists, etc., but without providing any possible evidence. Stone had shut that prick down quite well by telling, "I really don't understand your mentality. Maybe it's because you hate Trump." The only what Colbert said back was, Putin is an oppressive leader of his country. So all in all, a complete prick of a talk show host with zero knowledge about Russia. And he didn't even have the decency to watch the actual documentary before speaking to Stone about it, while he was presented with a preview copy. I watched every episode immediately after it aired, so it was a real President Putin week for me, since on Friday President Putin did his yearly call-in with the Russian public, which asked him all kinds of questions and asked for solutions. He answered those questions and provided solutions. Stone pretty much asked all questions that he could think of. Gay propaganda law, foreign policy, the 90s in Russia, war in Syria, former war in Chechnya, regarding accusations of all kinds of stuff. Ukraine, Snowden, US election, Trump. President Putin gave clear and logic answers. For example, regarding gay propaganda, President Putin told clearly that the law is there so the children could grow up as children without seeing all that adult stuff. He confirmed that he was against gay marriage because it does not produce a family, offspring. Yet, some New York lawyer called Kelly McLaughlin, who writes for the Daily Mail, somehow came up with the following headline: "God has decided. Putin claims it is his duty to stop gay people getting married so that people have more children." More babies, to be exact. When Stone and Putin talked about this subject, God wasn't mentioned once. So she flat out lied. There are two quotes made by President Putin at the end of the 4th episode, which I really like to share with you. Question from Oliver Stone: "It's highly unlikely that the next election will convince the West that Russia is a functioning democracy." President Putin: Do you think it's our goal to prove anything to anyone? Our goal is to reinforce our country. Second question from Oliver Stone. Regarding accusations of you being the richest person in the world, President Putin, when you are in a coffin, you don't have any pockets to take your money to the grave with you. Very wise and strong words. And here is my small opinion on all the hatred towards Russia. The whole reason Western powers hate Russia, with President Putin as its leader, is because he was able to raise Russia from its knees again, repay the government debt, build up a strong and proud army again, highly raise the living standards of Russians, defend traditional family values. All that makes Russia very independent and practically impossible to mess with. Western powers needed a weak 90s Russia, from who they were easily able to rob its technology and natural resources. West never wanted to have Russia as a partner because then they would not be able to create an illusion of an enemy to justify all the privacy cutbacks and increased spending on all kinds of nonsense. I really advise people who do not fully trust their mainstream media and politicians regarding their statements on President Putin to watch this 4-episode miniseries. It will be an eye-opener. This was the Shadow Man. Thank you for listening.